ahead and hand this over to you, man. I really appreciate you. It's an honor to be able to work with you, and I just want to say thank you because you're truly one of the best parts of Renatus, and that best part is the people that make up this thing. So Eloy, can you are you there? Can you hear me? I'm trying to find you on the screen to hand over the keys to you. There you are. Let's see. We'll go ahead and do this. Can you hear me, Eloy?
Okay, perfect. I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool, perfect. Jeremy, thanks so much. That was a very awesome introduction. Uh, I really like the sound of your voice. You're just an excited guy, and the way that you got everybody's energy up this morning, it's got my energy up. I enjoyed the Money Matrix this morning. The Lady Liberty plays a big part in my life. Being an immigrant to this country, I absolutely love what it has to offer. So when I see people complaining about not being able to make things happen in a place such as the United States, I tell them, you got to get yourself a condo because you're missing out. Jeremy, thanks so much. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me still. I am driving. I am driving on my way to a 3 Key Element event. That is another self-development event. This one's called the Art of Mentoring. And I really want to be in a better position to better help all of my IMAs as well as people that have been in the business for a while and may be going through a slump. I want to talk about real quick how I use my 3-foot rule because I didn't talk about it in depth last week, and how it is that I get someone from an event that I go to, a completely random networking event or some sort of mastermind event, self-development event. It could be any of the above, or even just bumping into a stranger at the grocery store. How it is that I introduce myself, how it is that the education gets brought up, and how do I invite them. Then, of course, the follow-up process all the way up until we put in the order. I like going to events and just letting my energy attract the people that I know are waiting to be in my business. There's a lot of individuals out there that have their hand up right now, and they're asking for you to go and talk to them about the education. Literally, there's people that are right now shopping for real estate education, and you're not there talking to them. They're about to spend 50 grand with a bogus program that has a coach out in Florida, 1-800 number that never answers, all of these 3-day events that cost an arm and a leg for what kind of information, let alone having a group to be able to support you throughout the whole process. It doesn't exist. Renatus is the best of the best. You stack us up against the competition, and in my biased opinion, very biased opinion, you will, not you will, we will win 10 out of 10 times. Our competition will be defeated if you put them up against us. 10 out of 10 times we win. And that's why we kind of owe it to, we're doing the world a disservice if we're not going out and, spreading the good word. I'll go to an event such as the one that I'm going to go to today, and my game plan is to come early, leave late. That's the first thing. I come early, make sure that I can help with setting up, with meeting new people before the whole event gets started. I make sure that when I go to a place like this, I am always keeping in mind that I'm going to bring value. I am not going there to take and 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 to take. I'm not going there to steal the crowds. I'm not going there to grab people from one event and bring them to mine. That's not the way that this works. We do things legally, morally, and ethically. In this case, morally and ethically are the two keys. When going to an event, I make sure to bring a lot of value. I make sure that I understand my value, and that when I go there, I get to spread that, get to spread my smiles, get to spread my joy, get to spread the message. And right now, it's not the message about Renatus. It's just the message of you can do whatever you want to do in life. You can be successful if you put your head down, work consistently. You can make this happen. I'll sit at an event and I'll wait for a conversation to pop up. There's always going to be breakouts, as well as maybe you're going to lunch with some people. I'm just going to either wait or approach. Sometimes I will approach people and just say, hey, hi, my name is Eloy. What is your favorite thing about life? You're at an event like this, a self-development sort of a networking event, that's a fantastic question to ask. Not what do you do, not what do you do for work. It's just, hey, my name is Eloy. What's your name? Cool. Hey, what's your favorite thing about life? Instantly, I'm putting them in a state of happiness because the smile attracts another smile. And when I ask them what their favorite thing about life is, they're not being bogged down by the feelings of what do you do? You ask someone, what do you do? And they're like me 4 years ago working at McDonald's flipping burgers. I didn't want you to ask me what I did for a living. Please do not ask me. Some people hate what it is that they're doing and they're trying to get away in conversation. Sometimes that's the reason that they're at these self-development events, to become the better version of themselves so they don't have to continue working the 9-to-5 job. So I won't ask what it is that you do for a living. Trust me, that question will come up, and just let them talk about it first. Let them ask you first. You sit down or stand up and have a conversation with someone long enough, they are going to ask you what it is that you do. So ask them what it is that their favorite thing is. Right now in life, what's your favorite thing? Depending on what it is, I'll usually follow up with, that's awesome. How much time do you spend doing that? Oh, not enough. And I've got my job, or, I kind of want to do a lot more, but right now I let myself beliefs get in the way. And, this is my favorite thing about life, and I do want to do it more, but time is kind of not as available. Oh, well, interesting. They'll start bringing up a conversation with me. What's your favorite thing about life? Well, my favorite thing about life is that I get to spend every waking moment doing whatever I want, whenever I want, because I want. Usually that means time with a family, but that also means coming to events like this without feeling like I'm missing out, like I have to go out into the real world and make money. Instantly, people get curious. What is it that you do? How can I do something similar? I just let them know, look, I work in real estate. I work with a group of entrepreneurs. It's probably the safest place to grow, safest place to land. They tend to ask more questions, and from there I invite. Or within the time that they're talking, I'll hear something and say, whoa. So, okay, so you went to college. So you have a bunch of, you still have student loans, right? Like that's the debt that you have. All right, cool. What do you have going on this Thursday night at 7 that you can't get out of? I haven't even let them know anything about Renatus just yet, or that I do real estate. I just go straight into, hey, what do you got going on this Thursday at 7 that you can't get out of? All right, well, the reason I asked that is because you just told me you have a little bit of debt. This weekend, we have a group of entrepreneurs that are talking about one of the strategies that really helped me out, reduce my debt dramatically in just a fraction of the time. We talk about how to pay off a 30-year mortgage in 7 to 10 years. No double payments, no beans and rice diet, no change in lifestyle. And the same exact strategy can be applied for your student loans or for any other debt. Now, I use this for my real estate business, but I think that you could get something out of this. That wouldn't interest you, would it? That's the question right there. That wouldn't interest you, would it? 9 out of 10 times they'll say, that does interest me, actually. I'll revert to a completely different conversation and ignore that we just invited them to an event and start talking about what it is again that they like the most. They're already so intrigued by the event that by closing out the conversation right now, they would be going to the event, but I want to get to know them a little bit better, and I'll use that as a closing statement. Get to know them a little bit better, figure out somewhat of their drive system, so that on Thursday night when they come to the event, maybe I know how to follow up properly. Again, 9 out of 10 times, that wouldn't interest you, would it? If you did things correctly, they're going to come. They're going to be more than happy to drop what it is that they're doing. If they don't have anything going on, then of course they're going to come. They come to an event, and what do? All right, so the first thing when you get to an event, leave all your crap at home. And by crap, I mean emotional baggage. Leave it at the car before you get out and walk into the building. That's step number one, guys. The energy that people feel when they walk into the room on a Thursday or on a Wednesday night is what's going to have them come back later on. It's not always just the information that's said. And of course, velocity banking is going to get any intellectual mind or someone who's math orientated or result orientated just grasping on to that knowledge and wanting more. But why a lot of people come back is because of the way that we make them feel. So when we're, doing a little round of applause for the new guests, all the IMAs and all of the students have to just get up out of their seat, jump up and down, and scream as if though they won the lottery. You are changing people's lives. Idea. Have you ever gone to a meeting and saw a guest just kind of wandering?
Hello, folks. Looks like we have lost Eloy. Maybe in his travels, he is gone through a bad celery. I'm gonna try and reach out to him so we can find him again. So give me just a moment. Okay, for those of you who I was echoing over myself, I'm going to go ahead and try and reach out to Eloy. Evidently, in his travels, he's gone through a dead area. So we will take just a moment. Let me try to get back in touch with him, and then we can resume this conversation. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, folks, thank you so much for your patience. Yes, he did go through a little bit of a low cell area, so if you'll wait just a moment, he is going to be. We've found a workaround. If that doesn't work, he's just going to call me, and we're going to directly project through. We're going to send the message through this line. So thank you for your patience, and we'll be back online in just a moment. But in the meantime, let's just take a moment and look at what is it that we've got going on. inside of our community, inside of the opportunities that we've got, these places where we can have these conversations with folks and really look at, what is it that you do for fun? I remember a conversation with Woody Woodward a while back, and he said, don't ever ask what somebody does for their job, because that may be the thing that they really hate. And I love the fact that Eloy brought that back, because if you ask them what they do for fun, then they start associating that feeling of good endorphins and all those wonderful things with you. So Eloy is back now, so I'm going to bring him back as the host, and we'll keep moving forward. So Eloy, can you hear me now? Let's try this one more time. Eloy, you there?
All right. Yes, I can hear you. I just had to get unmuted real quick. So I pulled over and made sure that from now on, at least for the next 15 minutes before I arrive at my destination, I can give you guys some more attention. So I left off, Jeremy, correct me if I'm mistaken, right as I was talking about what?
Well, the major point that you had gotten across that was really resonating over here with me is, when you're having conversations with people, it's not so much about the conversation about real estate, but in being in conversation with them about what's their pain point, having a conversation with them about what is it that they would like to get out of debt for. And then from there, then having that conversation about what is it that they want to do, and inviting them to an event to hear about velocity banking. And then you follow up with, what did you enjoy most?
Boom.
So that conversation is what they're in the space of, versus having a big conversation with them about, oh, you should do this or you should do that. It's bringing the velocity banking and making sure that they're able to see that as their entrance point, and then go to a Thursday meeting. And from that Thursday meeting, that's where your conversation was. That's what I was left with as the last thing you said.
Oh, okay, perfect. That's right. Thank you for that. So when you invite them to a meeting, now they're coming to the meeting, you're asking them, even while at the meeting, you're building relationships with people. It's so much easier to enroll a student when you have the trust of them, and you gain people's trust by becoming their friend, and you become people's friend by truly having a giving intention. We're not coming here to shark anybody out of any money. We're coming here to change people's lives. And when you come with that intention of giving, the world only can do one thing back, and that's give. And sometimes I think, we barely make a $10,000 paycheck in order to change someone's life forever. I think the balance of the scales are tipped in the favor of the new student enrolling. To be honest, that's how I feel sometimes. They've come to a meeting, they've watched the velocity banking, they've watched the 4-pillar presentation or the epic, wherever it may be. And one of two things happens. You're either right there sitting next to them, or you're in a study group. If you're right there sitting next to them, the first thing you do is you get up. I'm just tricking you. You don't get up. Don't get up off your seat. If you get up, if you spring up out of your seat, their body language is going to mirror your body language, and they're going to get up off their seat. So you're just going to stay where you are. You're going to turn the seat a little bit, and you're going to go knee to knee. If you are coming from a study group, you're going to be very aware of what the time is. So you're walking back into the main presentation room minutes before the presentation's over. As you spot your guest, when the presentation is over, you walk up to them and you sit down and you say, hey, oh man, that was incredible, was it not? What was your favorite part? What part of this presentation stood out the most to you? What do you think you can take home with you and apply right away? Oh man, I that velocity banking, that it blew my mind a little bit. I was like, I know, huh? I mean, you literally can no longer make a payment on any loan or on your mortgage without feeling some sort of tightening of the heart. You can no longer make a payment on anything without knowing that there's a better way. Whether you go home and apply this now, that's your prerogative, but now you know that there's a better way. Now you know that money works a little bit differently than you've been taught. And I'll follow up with, looks like we got to get you some lines of credit. Let's get you some lines of credit. Hey, you coming tomorrow or Saturday better? Hey, tomorrow for the follow-up, do you have time for a lunch before the follow-up? Now, if I can avoid them having to go to the follow-up by themselves without me, or with if I can avoid them just going to that by themselves without me having to do anything else, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, as Michael would say, book a meeting from a meeting. And when I'm booking a meeting from a meeting, it's not always to the follow-up or the Super Saturday or the next event. You guys didn't know this already. A one-on-one with you is also a meeting. And you can book a meeting to a one-on-one. So I like to book a meeting to a one-on-one lunch, and if I can't, I'll have them come to the follow-up so then I can have a lunch with them on Saturday. And now this is what's important. So we always ask for the order, and it can be in different ways. It's not always, let's see your credit card, let's put in those numbers. It's not always the way that we ask for the order. It's, okay, you ready? Let's get this started today. Oh, you know what? Today's not the day. Okay, well, okay, cool. Don't worry about it. I'm having you come this Friday. Yes? Yes. Okay, cool. And you keep them in the flow of events. Because what I've noticed in my business, although asking for the order is incredibly important because it's kind of hard for them to make it happen for themselves. When you ask for the order, when instead of always asking for the order, making sure that they continue coming to events will usually lead them to put in their own order or to let you know what's taking you so long. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I've had this happen multiple times in my business where at first I was a little bit afraid, and I sometimes will fall into a mindset where anxiety kicks in and I may be afraid to ask for the order. But what it doesn't do is stop me from letting them know to come to the next event. I may not feel strong enough that day or confident or my position for whatever it may be. It could have been something that happened that morning and affected me throughout the day. What I always make sure is that they're coming to the next event, because when they come to the next event and the following, they start getting ideas from other people's stories. They start seeing the other individuals just like them are making things happen in their life. The people are taking control of their future, and they look very similar to the person they see when they look in the mirror. They start realizing that you could be 65 years old, you could be 19 years old. You can make this happen. You could be dead broke right now, and you can still make things happen. Because like I said last week, where there's a commitment, creativity, and consistency, we can make this happen. From there, they keep on coming to events, and look, guys, if you continue bringing them to events, they will start asking you for the order. And how can I get started now? And letting you know that I'm ready to go right now. That's my follow-up. My follow-up is continue bringing them to events, and on a lunch date, say, hey, I'm ready for you. Let's go ahead and start this. Before I continue, because I have more content and I'll always have things to talk about. In fact, if you don't shut me up, I'll continue talking. I want to open up the space for you guys just for the next few minutes. At least one person, if you'd get off mute and let me know.
I've actually got a couple questions that have come in, Eloy. If you'd like me to just read them to you, would you like to do that?
Yes, go ahead. Let's read a question.
Okay, so I've got two questions here. One from Sherry Wallace. It says, what if you have multiple guests? How do you handle that?
Fantastic. That is a great problem to have many guests in the room. There was a day at Renato's when I had upwards of 13 to 17 people at an event. My wife and I my wife was going through EMT. I was kind of following a suit, though I was helping in EMT and I wasn't part of the class. I was still practicing the principles. And we had a lot of guests. So one thing that we always do is we set a realistic expectation of what's going to happen. So if you're going to be having a lot of guests for this meeting, you don't necessarily have to let your people know you've got 13, 17 people there. You act as a professional and you've got things to do. You're now running your business on a Thursday night or on a Wednesday night, whenever you guys are having these events, you're running your business. And the way that you position yourself, and I'm talking about even like, are you walking up straight? Is your neck fit? Is your neck straight? Is your chin up? Are you smiling? Are your shoulders relaxed, but also tough, as if though they can handle responsibility? You're in a certain frame, in a certain position of professionality and of running the business. When you talk to your guests before they come, let them know, hey, I am going to go do this. Say, I'm going to go to my study group. After the meeting, meet me in this area. And you kind of bunch up groups. Now, you may have multiple guests that don't know each other at all. And that's okay. That's also why you have a community. I can't tell you how many times I've relied on the community. And to rely on the community, they have to know who you are. And for them to know who you are, you have to be coming to the Thursday night meetings and helping out and providing some value that you have to offer. So anytime any other student has guests on a Thursday night, I will go and take care of them. Because the conversation isn't very long and it doesn't need to be very long. Sometimes you will talk yourself in and out of a sale in the same conversation. So your main two goals after the meeting is to ask for the order and to book a meeting from a meeting. That doesn't take very long. If you do things right and you already have set in mind what your goal is, which is to ask for the order and book a meeting from a meeting, you're going to go up to your guest. What did you like best? What stood out the most? Okay, fantastic. I will see you here tomorrow. I'll be here for the follow-up. Here's so-and-so. Here's so-and-so. You go and introduce them to someone in the community that may not have a lot of guests that day, and let them carry on the conversation as you move on to your next group of guests and do the exact same thing. Once you have asked for the order and booked a meeting from a meeting with all of your guests, it gives you time to continue walking around talking to your guests. Maybe they can be bunched up in a little group. What did you guys like best? What was your favorite part? What was your favorite part? Start feeding off of each other's energy. Having multiple guests in the room is one of my favorite things. It's sometimes easier than just having one guest in the room, to be honest. Now, Jeremy, I saw here there was another question that says, or what if they come to an event in another location? That question is a good one. Here in Salt Lake City, we have, like 3 different groups. We're all Team Renato. We're all Team Bob Snyder. And I put complete faith and trust in the community and the culture. The culture that trickles down from Bob's personality, you guys already know this. It's amazing. There's almost nothing like it on this planet. It's incredible what he has done, and the camaraderie that we have, and the co-opetition and the family, all of these words that describe our business and the way that Bob runs it. It's super, super cool. Now, if you've done your job, you have been connecting with all of the Renato's community members in your area. Now, as if it's in another state, well, if you're doing your job, you're going to nationals and you're going to regionals and you're going to all of the events that include the community nationwide. and you're on Facebook and you're interacting with these other students from other states, and you're building these relationships so that when a student or a future student goes to a meeting in Chicago, well, it's a good thing that I had breakfast with Nancy Rowe during Leaders Retreat, because I know that if I let her know that there's one of my friends coming, they're not familiar to the Chicago market, they're going to be very well taken care of. Alex Rep out of the Kansas market had a guest come to a Thursday night in Salt Lake City while still he's in Kansas. This student ended up enrolling at an X combo. Alex wasn't there for any of the process. All he did was invite him to an event and then went back to his community in Kansas. He invited him to one event while he was down here in Salt Lake City. A complete stranger, nonetheless, that he met at a GameStop at the mall. He sent him to an event out of state, and he walked back into Kansas with an Extreme Plus combo under his belt. Utilizing the community and getting to know people in your community, I would pay $20,000 every single year to be part of a mastermind so rich like Renato's. It's incredible. Let's see here. I've got some other questions. What are some of the ways you use the AFTO? Like, how do I ask for the order? Now, I'll tell you the truth. For me, it had been tough throughout my time in the business. Sometimes asking for the order was tough, and it had to do with belief. The four core beliefs of Renatus help me ask for the order, and you guys should know what that is, right? Renatus is the best earnings possibility in the universe. Renatus is for everyone. You're doing them a favor, and if they say no, it's their fault. It's their bad. It's their loss. Knowing that makes me feel better about asking for the order. What words do I use? It generally depends on what they said they like best about the meeting. If they say that they like credit cards, or excuse me, velocity banking, I say, let's get you some credit cards and get you started with velocity banking. Oh, well, I have no debt. That's not a problem. We can make that happen. We can get you a $20,000 debt real quick to then start paying off with the velocity banking method. If they say that they really like the way that a deal was structured, I'll use something along the lines of, why don't we get started now? And this Saturday, we're having a house tour. You can see the sticks and bricks of the operation. I'd love to have you there. Why don't we get you a calendar right now so that you know what the upcoming events are? Starting an account is free, and that's the next step moving forward, is to open up the account. And while you're opening up the account, you let them know step 1 is to open the account. Step 2 is to find the funding. And step 3 is to unlock the account. In step 3, when they unlock the account, of course, they must have found the funding, but you let them know now that you've got your account open, the next step is to find the funding. So it's not, give me your money. Where's your money? Most people don't have it. They don't have 20 grand sitting under their mattress or available on credit cards. It's, let's get your account open and let's figure out how we're going to do this funding. Do you have any ideas of how we're going to fund this? And I put the ball in their park. That to me is asking for the order, because they are opening up an account and starting to get curious about how it is that they're going to fund this whole project. That is how I use my AFTO. I want to tell you guys a quick story about belief. And there was a gentleman who had walked into the back of an elephant camp. And as he was walking around the elephant camp, he got a little bit curious, and he's like, why these elephants, they're only tied down by this little rope, just their back left heel is tied on a rope, and that rope is tied on a post. You're looking at these ginormous animals. They could rip that rope right off the ground, right off the post, and walk free. And the guy who was walking through the back of the elephant camp, he talks to a trainer and with a curious attitude, why don't these elephants break free? Do they not know that they can? And this was very curious what the trainer said, because it may relate to some of you guys. Said when the elephants are babies, we tie them with the same exact rope. And at the time, that is enough to stop them from moving. And as they grow up, they've been instilled the belief that that rope is holding them back. These elephants, without a problem, could tear that rope and walk free. But because of belief that was put into their mind as a child, it is now affecting them to this day. We have to be very aware of what our self-limiting beliefs are and where they come from. Because chances are they were put into our mind, into our psyche, into our subconscious without our permission. And it's up to us now to break free. How do you break free of that? Well, I'm actually going to give you guys some actionable steps. How do you break free? Well, you break free through creating new beliefs, and you do that through repetition. If you've read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, here are your 6 steps to turning your dreams into reality. This is literally from the book. There's 6 steps right here. And if you have a second and you can write them down, fantastic. Today I don't have control of the controls because I'm in my car in the middle of Provo and it's not very safe. Next week, I have some writing down and some notes for you guys to take because I'll be sharing the screen. But right now, step number 1 is find out the exact amount of money that you desire. We're going to kill all these self-limiting beliefs because we're going to do something in repetition. But first, what do you want? What is the exact amount of money that you desire? Step 1, write that down. What is the exact amount of money that you desire? Number 2, this is crucial. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. What are you willing to give from your life? What are you willing to give up in your life in return for that money? For some, it could be quitting video games. That's what I'm willing to give up. For some, it could be not sleeping in. That's what I'm willing to give up. What are you willing to give and or to give up to have that money that you desire? Now, step number 3 is let's get a date. Let's put this on paper. What's the date that you intend to possess this money? Is it in a month? Is it on the 31st or is it on the 1st? Is it on the 22nd or is it on the 3rd? Let's get exact with a definite date when that money is going to come out into your life. You've got 3 things established now. Let's create a plan. Create a plan on how you intend to make this happen. And whether you're ready or not, you just look into the future. You see what needs to get done for you to acquire that money, that richness in your life. And let's create a definite plan. How it is, even if you don't feel like you can carry out that plan, it seems too extreme, write it down. Number 5. This is time now to write a clear and concise statement about the money that you intend to require. You put a name on the time limit of its acquisition. You state what you intend to give in return for the money and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. So now you're writing a statement based on the first 4 steps. And number 6, this is how we're going to destroy our new or our old belief system. So we're going to read our written statement twice daily. This business, I want to say that it's easy, and it can be if you let it. What it definitely is, it's simple. It's very, very simple. Good things take time. So step 6 is now to read aloud twice a day in the morning and once before bed this statement. I can assure you that results would surely start following, but this is the last thing I'll keep in your mind. Because again, good things take time, right? And there's something that I call the 1-3-5-7 formula. Anybody who's read Go Pro, and you should, Go Pro by Eric Worre, that's a must read for being in this business. He talks about the 1-3-5-7 formula, and that's just a general rule that he talks about in this kind of business, that it will take for you 1 year to start learning and start basically understanding the basics. You'll be covering your expenses and you'll be learning, right? It's just, you'll be competent as a general rule of thumb. Now, it will take 3 years of consistent part-time effort for you to be able to go at this full time. For those of you that don't have the privilege or the opportunity to go in, 24/7 every hour of the day to work on this business, that's okay. It only takes 3 years, just on average. It takes about 3 years to be able to turn this into a full-time gig. Now, to be a consistent 6-figure earner and above, you're looking at 5 years. And to be an absolute professional, you're looking at 7 years. You look at someone like Michael, he's now in the professional state because he's been with us long enough and he's practiced long enough. Some of you guys, just because it says that it takes 7 years or 5 years to become 6-figure income earners, don't take that as an absolute truth, because for some it can take less. But this is a general rule of thumb so that you can feel good about where you're at, because we're all at a different phase. And in your first year, part-time, you just start knowing the basics. In your 3rd year, you're now a little bit better, and you can turn this from a part-time gig to a full-time gig. Within 5 years, there's no reason why you shouldn't be a 6-figure earner here at the Renato's company. And within 7 years, you're a professional. You should be at the top of the pack, and you should be helping other people create their dreams on a big, big platform. I'm going to start wrapping up. Let's see, we've got some more questions. Super Saturday's coming. I'll be at work, and I have guests with me in the next minutes. Brandon Anderson. Good morning, Brandon. Super Saturday is coming. I'll be at work, and I have guests asking me when the next event is. What should I do? Just invite them even though I won't be there? Yes. Set a realistic expectation and then communicate with someone who's going to be at the event that you're going to send them to, because it's not just about dropping them off there. Let them know that you have a guest, and if they could kindly greet them and make them feel welcome when they show up, that would be most appreciated. That's what I do, because we have 3 events in a single day at times, and we can't be at all of the events, and certain personality types I send over here while I'm over here at this other event with different personality types, where I have some guests that may be a little hotter right now. Hopefully that answers your question, Brandon. Guys, this is so awesome to have the opportunity to talk to you guys in the morning. I have so much more that I want to share with you guys. And I want you guys to just every week from now till next Thursday, start writing down questions, figuring out what is in the way and how we can help you. We're going through the exact same stuff as you are. I can't wait to see you guys at the next event. Regionals? What regionals are you going to? What regionals are you going to? Because I'm going to go to the Salt Lake Regionals, and that's going to be October 11th and 12th. That I'm kind of debating. I mean, we're going to get trophies. I might want to get trophies from two different states, so I might go to the South California. That one's in November 22nd and 23rd. What regionals are you going? If you're in Scottsdale, September 27th, 28th, Salt Lake, 11th and 12th of October. In Chicago, it's October 18th and 19th. Atlanta, October 25th, 26th. In New York, it's November 1st and 2nd. Sacramento, November 8th and 9th. Seattle on the 15th and 16th of November. And South California on the 22nd and 23rd of November. What regionals are you going to? I'd love to bump into you there. My phone number for those of you who don't have it is 801-884-6002. With all of this being said, guys, you are so amazing. Have a fantastic day. Go break necks, cash checks, get phone numbers and emails too. See you on the Fix and Flip side.
Thanks, Eloy. Appreciate you, man.
Bye.